Hey, what's up, everybody? CM here with common sense perspective, trying to give you stuff that's going on. There's a bunch of bullshiz out there, and trying to just bring some common sense to things that are just so crazy out there, so stupid too on many things. That's what I'm trying to bring here, and I wanted to talk about the latest thing that just hit the news. But first, let me just bring this to your attention here. So I posted this video yesterday, right? I post a video daily, and it says no views. You know why? Because they put a 18 and over, whatever you want to call it, deal on this thing. 18 and over. All right. Because I think because I showed the footage in there of how Diddy was like he knocked down his ex wife or whatever, Cassie, and knocked her down. Well, she was running away from him, right? She goes to the elevator. He runs after her in his towel, and then he knocks her down to the ground, drags her, starts kicking her, and then she goes off and makes calls, right? And then he walks away. He comes back, and he's like, giving her a piece of his mind, and he starts throwing stuff at her, and it's like, man, I mean, it's pretty ruthless, all right, that I put the footage in there, and I think that's why they put an 18 and plus viewer, or for viewers, which really heavily censored my airing of that video. So I wanted to throw that out there. That man, censorship sucks. All right. Um, but aside from that, let's talk about the latest news. All right, I wanted to bring this up because I found it fascinating, and it's about the Teamsters. Right, unions. When they say Teamsters, it's referring to the unions. All right, one of the major union chiefs. All right, put out there that he's not endorsing, or yeah, the union is not endorsing neither Trump or Harris. All right. Here's the thing. Let me give you a little bit of a background on the Teamsters and the unions, all right? So he was invited to the RNC, and he actually was a guest and showed up at the RNC for Trump. All right, he was an invited guest, shows up. On the other hand, when it comes to Teamsters and unions, think about things that are unionized, right, across America, especially the automakers unions, all right? That's a pretty big union. And unions, for example, there could be good and bad things about unions in general, but specifically, they're there to protect the workers, right? With wages, steady increases in wage, health insurance, in some cases, pension, if you're in a union where that offers pension plans as well. So there's a lot of benefits to unions, right? You gotta pay the union dues, which can be costly. But on the other end of that, you get, the benefits are good to have it, right? There's pros and cons to having a union. That's always going to be debatable. Especially if, say, like for example, you get fired, the union can fight for your job and things like that. But now, so aside from that, um, there's pros and cons about it, right? Some people are for it, some people are against it, and to each its own on that, right? So, like I said, he was invited to the RNC. He shows up, as a guest to the RNC, does his thing there. And then when polls come out on whether or not union workers, all right, are for Trump or for Kamala, it's posted everywhere. I mean, you can look it up everywhere, right? There's a 58% support for Trump versus only like I've seen numbers between 28 to 34% for Kamala. All right, and throughout the years, especially the most recent years, right, throughout time, Teamsters unions have supported Democrats. All right, They've always endorsed Democrats for a very long time. It's been like since the mid 90s that the last time they backed a Republican, all right, or supported a Republican. But for the most part, it's always been Democrats that unions supported. But a couple of things I look at as to why, he said the system's broken. He's trying to play both ways. Well, Harris is not all that great, and Trump is Trump, blah, blah, blah. Even though his union people are supporters of Trump or will be voting for Trump, he still doesn't want to give a union endorsement, which is pretty stupid. I mean, when you think about that, that's pretty stupid, because there's plenty of people under you that are showing to be supportive of Trump, and yet you still don't want to make an endorsement. But being that historically they've been supportive of Democrats, and he comes out as not supporting either one, is a win for the Republican Party. All right, because, and that's a huge blow. I mean, that's what they're saying right now. It's a huge blow to the Democrats, which is true. I totally believe that, because if you don't have the unions backing you, that's really a telling thing there, right? And there's reasons why they're not endorsing Miss Harris here, is because when you look at it, the Green New Deal, right, where they're pushing all these electric mandates, electric cars, phasing out gasoline-powered cars in the next few years, all of that green initiative bullshit. Even though she says she's not going to ban fracking, we all know historically she says she would ban fracking. They're trying to really not use oil, and oil is needed to produce a lot of things, everything. When it comes to plastic, production of all kinds of stuff, it's great for fuel, and so much usage of oil that it's a necessity. And to further restrict our use of oil, the drilling of it and fracking of it, exporting it, all that other stuff is complete stupidity for the Democrats to get away from, and super progressive. That is stupid. All right, and you want to know what's hurting Americans, and their money, is pushing this green crap, forcing people to go electric cars. And by the way, we're going to remove gas and all that, so you're going to be paying for electric everything. And guess what? Electricity prices go up, even though the infrastructure is not set up for this overcapacity, and it sucks. All right. So what they do, they still raise the price, and we got to pay a boatload of money just to pay bills and things like that. It's stupid. All right. So to me, common sense would say that they're not supportive, as in the Democrats are not supportive of the unions, because they're really, making union jobs lost, because you're trying to produce electric cars. And these, for example, Teamsters that work for car manufacturers such as Ford and Chevy and all that, if they're, not being able to make gasoline powered cars, yeah, they make electric cars, but when you see electric cars, what do people go for? They're going for the Teslas, right? They're the leading automaker in electric cars in the U.S., and they are pretty much the number one manufacturer in the U.S. So if, and when it comes to electric cars, so if people are having an electric car in mind, they're going for a Tesla, and they're not going to go for a Ford. Yeah, some will, but they're not going to go for a Chevy or Chrysler or whatever. And so either way, it's a shitty proposition, all right? And so yes, Teamsters not supporting either one is a good thing, all right? It's great. It's a win for Trump, because that's one less support for Kamala that is up in the air, and it's really showing how bad Kamala really is. All right. So yeah, people like AOC. It's questionable. I might bang her. I might not. I don't know. It's questionable. Um, but she lashes out on Teamsters for refusing to Kamala Harris because she's crying about how, what happens when Teamsters always want to, do this and that and this. They talk to us, right? And that's what she's crying about. We always help them out when they ask for help, and now she's saying they should be coming to the table, having us, endorsing us because we're always there for them. And it's like, no, I think if anything, historically, Democrats would ask for union support. It's not the other way around, you know what I'm saying? But yeah, so it is, you could say, shocking for everyone because, like I said, it's historically has supported Democrats. So by showing that, again, it's a win for Trump. So I just wanted to mention that out there. All right. And that's not such a bad thing if they're not endorsing anybody. But the polls show they are supporting Trump. So even though there's no endorsement, I mean, it's going to show on the back end of it, anyways, who they're really supporting underlying all that stuff. So it's a win. All right. There's no other way around it, and I think it's a good thing. I mean, to me, it really shows how much Democrats are just really not all there. All right, that they're way too progressive. Open borders, the Green Deal, New Deal, all this other bullshit going on in this space, in our lives, right? And, and I think it's really showing that people care about what's going on here in the U.S. and that we need to put a stop to all this madness, this bullshit, the gaslighting, all this crap that the Democrats have been doing. They've shown over the last 4 years now how bad things can be, all right? And it's even turned up a few notches in California because we have Gavin Newsom, who's also a surrogate of Biden and pushing all this bullshit. And Newsom's a bitch too. All right, straight up, for just the stuff that he's putting in California. And don't believe for 1 minute that Kamala is supportive of the Second Amendment. Oh, I have guns and Tampon Tim has guns. We're not here to take away your guns, but yet we want to put a ban on assault weapons. I mean, it's kind of like, how can you say one and then the other, right? And that's what she's been saying on a lot of things, right? Oh, you said that you'll ban fracking, but all of a sudden you're not going to ban fracking. But we all know that you will, all right? And I mean, there's just so much bullshit going on that it just really shows how people really don't want Democrats in office anymore. All right? And the way everything is stacked up against Trump with the media, with all these things, trying to go anti-Trump, I think deep down, when you really, really dig deep down, it really looks like Trump can pull this off. Despite the media onslaught of making it look like Trump is hanging in there, barely hanging in there, or they're neck and neck. I mean, it wouldn't surprise me if Trump is actually ahead, like way ahead, because Kamala just doesn't really do anything. She doesn't know anything. She doesn't do anything. She hasn't done anything, and she's been keeping to the script, so to speak, right? Staying minimal as a minimalist, not really talking about what policies she's going to be pushing on day one. We all know heavy taxation, right? Without representation, such as the unrealized gains on capital gains, taxing of that. What kind of crap is that? And shit like that. She is going to be a disaster if she was to be president, or is going to be president of America, which we hope she won't. Because, man, it's going to be bad. It's going to be real bad. Anyhow, I just wanted to bring that up. That one important element, Teamster Union is not going to support Kamala or Trump, but that's a win for the Republicans in that regard because of historic endorsements, being that it was Democratic before. So comment down below. Let me know what you think. All right, subscribe, hit the bell icon, stay on top of everything we got going on. Yeah, I know. Isn't that crazy that they censored my P. Diddy arrest and beat down video too? Other than that, thank you, and I'll see you next one.